I'm president of EUPRERA. EUPRERA has a long tradition of supporting projects across Europe that support essentially the universities and the educational provision of the next generation of communication practitioners. So the European Monitor is one of our key projects. We've been funding and supporting the research for 12 years now. We're into our 12th year. And the idea for that is really generating new knowledge, new understanding for our next generation. Of course, we do that in alignment with the practice community that we're working with, but essentially this work feeds not only into the practitioner community, but also to our curriculum and how we develop curriculum. And we've used that both in a European level, that national associations are feeding into this. The national institutes in the UK, in Germany, in Austria use this data to understand how their curriculum might look in terms of developing the next generation. We've also had the same interaction working with North America. They've taken an interest in what Europe does because they're very focused on the North American universities, but have listened because we've come up with some quite different ideas, different concepts. So for us as an association, it's been a fantastic vehicle for generating new knowledge, new understanding about what is essentially a very fast-moving profession. EUPRERA has been an association that's represented the education institutions of Europe in different forms. It was originally called CERP, which is the Confederation of European Relations Publiques, and then emerged into EUPRERA, which is how it stands as the European Education Research Association, European Public Relations Education Research Association. And we have about 400 institutional and individual members, as well as practitioners. So we work both with education, but also with practitioners who are engaged or are reflective practitioners and come to listen to our research, listen to our findings and engage. Really we're an association that is there to represent members, but to help them as well in terms of developing their curriculum and their educational programs for their students. Part of what we do as well is develop engagement programs or collaborative master's courses. For example, we have a Masters in European Public Relations supported by EUPRERA. We then also have other network groups and special interest groups on topics such as public affairs, ethics, gender. So certain themes that are of interest to our community, and we will then back that and support it. The biggest project we run, though, it has to be said, is the European Communication Monitor, which is now into its 12th year. The European Communication Monitor has been running for 12 years and is led by 5 research professors. So Professor Zerfas, Leipzig, Germany, myself, Leeds in the UK, Professor Angeles Moreno from Madrid in Spain, Piet Verhoeven from Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and Dejan Vercik in Slovenia. And as a core team, we then look to see how can we do more with what we've got. About 5 years ago, I developed a project initiative on competencies, which we put forward to the European Commission, and they funded us for €500,000 over 3 years. And we developed a very detailed research programme about the competencies of practitioners in different functional areas. And that was a very useful tool. It presented quite valuable data, which has subsequently gone into not only developing practice through businesses who've come to us for consultancy and agency work on how to develop those competency frameworks and skills, but also for professional associations. And I can allude again to how it's influenced not only in the UK, but also in North America and in Latin America in some of the associations there as well. So the work has spread, and I think it's got the recognition of the European Monitor brand, but also the EUPRERA backing that's gone behind it. The future is interesting for the communications. I mean, I think for us who are traditional educators, I think we have to recognise that the landscape's changing. It's changed. We're seeing certain trends and certain issues that are coming out that are changing perhaps how we look to the future of who we recruit. So the skill sets that we traditionally associate, for many of us who've come from practice, maybe from journalism and from the written word, those things still matter, but we're seeing greater demand on issues around the capability with visualization, certainly obviously the use of technology and engagement with new media. The other factor, which is something that is, for me, who educates through a business school, is very interesting, is numbers. We're realising that people who can manage and deal with data are increasingly valued and valuable in the profession. And that's something that we've taught for many years, but in a way I'm quite reassured by, because it says we were doing something right all along. But I think there's a future there as well about understanding people who can manipulate and understand data and use data to inform them. Data in the form of research, data in the form of understanding, so that they can make a better job of building communication strategies, communication solutions.